Hello, everybody, and welcome to our channel. I'm Mark.
And I'm Rob.
Today, we're going to address the insane Angel Reese fans who keep claiming that she discovered Caitlin Clark and made her famous. So, hey, if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, please do so. Hit the notification bell when you do so you get notified of our next videos. So, Rob, I've seen this said by some YouTubers, not major YouTubers, some YouTubers. I haven't seen it by ESPN. I've seen it on Twitter, and I've seen it in comments in our videos, and I've seen it in lots of comments in other people's videos, where Angel Reese fans say that she made Caitlin Clark famous, essentially, is what they're saying. That nobody knew. They say this exact same thing all the time. Nobody knew who Caitlin Clark was until the LSU Iowa game. Nobody knew. Okay, so let's try to correct this revisionist history.
Not even me, Mark. Not even me.
No, these delusional Angel Reese fans.
Wow.
Okay, so coming out of high school, they were both a little bit famous. They both played on the under 19 and under 17, under 16 teams, and Paige Bueckers was the number 1 recruit. Angel Reese was the number 2. Cameron Brink was the number 3. And Caitlin Clark was the number 4 recruit. So they're both kind of a little bit famous. And then in their freshman year, Angel Reese got injured in the middle of the year and missed 16, only played 16 games. And she didn't make any All-American teams. Caitlin Clark made first-team All-American with the Professional Basketball Writers Association, second team with AP for some strange reason. She was a finalist in the Naismith for Player of the Year. And for the AP Player of the Year, she got 1 vote out of the 30 votes. And Paige won it. And Angel Reese obviously didn't get any votes. There was a big to-do when she didn't make the top 15 for the Wooden Award. So Caitlin Clark became famous for not being in the finalists for the top 15, which was bizarre because she might have been the second best player in the country that year. Some Caitlin Clark fans think she was the best player in the country, better than Paige.
So Angel Reese had a vote in that, or she let her people know about that? She
I don't know, Rob.
Been in there.
She made very little splash her freshman year. In fact,
that's how she influenced Clark.
Yeah, in fact, when Maryland did beat Iowa that year, she only played 16 minutes because she was coming back from an injury. So she wasn't even the reason they won that game. So Caitlin Clark became famous because of her logo threes during the freshman year. And that's how I found out about her. I was watching, I don't even know, I don't watch much women's basketball, but for some reason, I think Carolyn Peck came out and said the most exciting player in women's basketball is a freshman named Caitlin Clark. So I started watching her again. So I didn't know who Angel Reese was. So then in the Sweet 16, there was a big buildup because there was some dispute about who the best guard was, Paige Bueckers or Caitlin Clark. They got co-freshman of the year by the U.S. Basketball Writers Association. Way different viewpoint of the rankings than the Wooden people. And so that game got a lot of hype, and it was 1.6 million views, and that was the second highest Sweet 16 view ever for women's basketball. So people knew who she was when she was a freshman.
Mark. So Angel Reese was also voting on the co-freshman of the year too, and that also built her up too.
She voted for Paige.
Because she definitely.
So Angel Reese made almost no splash her freshman year, partly because of her injury, but Caitlin Clark did because she was exciting and also because she was a really good player. So in their sophomore year, Caitlin Clark started picking up more views on television, and she was runner-up for AP Player of the Year. She got 6 votes as opposed to 23 for Aaliyah Boston. And Angel Reese didn't get any, just so you know. And also, Angel Reese was 3rd-team All-American, and Caitlin Clark was 1st-team All-American. Now, I'm not very smart, Rob, but my viewpoint is if you're 1st-team All-American, you're more well-known than someone who's making 3rd-team All-American. If you runner-up in the Player of the Year and the other person not getting any votes, you're more well-known than the other person.
So Angel Reese. Oh, now I get. So Angel Reese was behind the camera that was following Caitlin
I'm not
Clark.
sure what she is.
And that brought her up.
Caitlin Clark.
That's what brought her up. She was actually there filming Caitlin Clark, and that's what built up. Oh, okay.
By the way, Maryland did beat Iowa, and Angel Reese had a great game, and Caitlin Clark had an off game. I just want to be fair about that because they keep pointing out that she was 3-0 against Caitlin Clark the first 3 times they played because she beat her in the championship game too. Since then, it's been Caitlin Clark. So anyways, now they're 4-4. against each other. But one game, Angel Reese barely played. So, anyways, so in their junior year, Caitlin Clark got a lot of talk about going to be player of the year. They didn't announce it at that time. And she also got Iowa was the second leading attendance in the country after South Carolina. Not after LSU, who Angel Reese played for. Iowa was. They were also, Rob, number one in the country in away and road games. So they had.
Wow, that's Mark. That sounds familiar, doesn't it? Wow, that sounds familiar.
It's Caitlin Clark in the WNBA, I guess you're talking about. All right. And by the way, Caitlin Clark led the country in scoring all 4 years, and she also was second in assist her freshman year, and then she was first in assist all 3 years. So you would think, Rob, I don't know, I'm not very smart, but you would think a person who leads the nation in scoring and is first or second in assists is well known. But what can I say? I mean, don't use logic here.
Yeah, that's right. We don't use logic on our programs here. That's not allowed. Yes, how could I mean? So I'm waiting for the part where Angel Reese has brought her up, Mark. I'm still waiting for that.
We'll get to that part.
Are we almost there where she actually?
Well, we might not get to that part because it didn't exist, but we'll try.
Because it doesn't exist, right? That fact doesn't exist. That's why.
No, and it turns out that so Iowa had better attendance and Iowa had better TV viewership than LSU too. And proof of that is when the NCAA tournament took place. So Caitlin Clark in the Elite Eight, in her game, she got 2.82 million views. LSU's game, Angel Reese got 1.89. She had 50% more viewership. For someone who wasn't known, that's pretty good. Mm-hmm. And then in the Final Four game, Rob, she got 60% more viewership. She had 5.6 million, and LSU got 3.4 million. By the way, that 5.6 million was a 74% increase from the same game in the same time slot as the year before for Caitlin Clark. Just so you know, Angel Reese's went up too from the year before, but Caitlin Clark's went up more. So that's going into their game. So at this point, we've got someone who was going to be the player of the year, who led the league in assists and in scoring, and had the best attendance in the country in road and second best at home. Mm-hmm. And also was going to be first team All-American that year. By the way, Angel Reese made first team All-American her junior year. Okay. She went up from third team to first team. All right. Mm-hmm. But I never heard of Angel Reese until the championship game. To be fair, I don't follow women's basketball that closely at the time. I probably knew who Paige Beckers was. I knew who Leah Boston was. And I knew some of the Iowa players because I'd been watching Caitlin Clark. I never heard of Angel Reese, but some people had, but I didn't. So going into the game, we saw what happened. Even though Angel Reese was the fourth leading scorer on her team, she got credit for the win. And we saw her gloat and taunt Caitlin Clark. And I'm not going to cover that now, but it was very unsportsmanlike. And it wasn't the same thing that Caitlin Clark did. It was drastically different. Again, I'm not going to cover that. But
yeah, we've done that.
But that's how Angel Reese became famous in terms of just a small following that she had. She had good Instagram at the time. She had 600,000 followers. The next day, she had 1.3 million. She went up 700,000. So she became famous, the taunting and the gloating over Caitlin Clark. Not Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark was already famous. You could tell by the viewership. And by the way, that game got 9.9 million, which was the highest ever for a women's basketball game. And
so you could say, Mark, it's actually the opposite. Because she did that to Caitlin Clark, who was well known by then and popular, she got in, hey, who's this person that's taunting her? Angel Reese. Wow, let's look her up. Let's get her going.
And her NIL money went up after that too for Angel Reese. Caitlin Clark doesn't have much of a following on Instagram because she doesn't post anything. But she did have, it's unclear who had more NIL before and after that games because no one knows those figures. You know what the figures are on Instagram and you know what the figures are for TV viewership. Those numbers you can document. You can't document NIL. Yeah. So it's said that Angel Reese had more than Caitlin Clark after that, but I think Caitlin Clark has actually surpassed her since then. So as you can see, it is 100% unequivocal that Caitlin Clark was more well-known than Angel Reese before the championship game between LSU and Iowa. So please stop saying that. She did not make Caitlin Clark famous. Caitlin Clark made Angel Reese famous.
Right.
by absorbing that taunting and gloating.
Right. And even with this rivalry thing now there's a rivalry between, I don't see any rivalry between the two players. I really don't. One's different positions. One plays forward, one plays guard. But I don't see a rivalry that they're still building up with those two. They said the rivalry started after the hand face thing. That's when it started in college. So it was a rivalry between them. Like it's almost like Caitlin Clark's going, there's a rivalry? Really? With who? I didn't know this.
I don't know, Rob. It's somewhat of a rivalry just because of what happened between the two of them in that game. But they're not in the same level in terms of popularity or ability. So one's going to be potentially the greatest player of all time, and the other one's maybe she'll be first team All-Pro one time. You might lead the league in rebounds a lot of times, but it's not the same level of ability, and they're not the same level of popularity as we saw in the TV viewership, where all the games Caitlin Clark had that were all over 1 million viewers, and Angel Reese, the only time she did that is when she played against Caitlin Clark.
Rebounds and missed shots, I think.
Yeah, well, she's going to lead. She may lead the WNBA in missed shots in all of history, Rob. For all I know.
Are they going to put a stats in for second attempts? How many second attempts you get?
They're probably going to come up with those stats. You never know. Every time I turn around. So, I mean, we all know this is what they're saying is not true. But I just wanted to document this in a video, and then if I get another comment on our site, Rob, I'm just gonna give a link to this video, because it's not even close to reality. It's just the opposite of what they're saying, and this is all easy to show. So I don't understand why they're making silly comments like that. They're just dumb. So
I mean, it's okay to stick by your girl. I'm sorry, your woman or your girl. Although they say stick by my girl, I'll just say it, even though she's not a girl, she's a woman. But then you got to be like you said. Objective. Mark, you've taught me this. I have to say, you've taught me this. Be objective. Be, even with Caitlin Clark, we're objective. We down here, we don't say she's the next coming. We say she is going to be the next a great ball player, but we also put in little comments. Hey, she's got to work on her defense. She's got to do this. So you have to do the same thing with Angel Reese. You can't just like, oh, she's this and she's that. Yeah, she is, but not.
I don't know, Rob. It's
really.
Yeah, it's all I can say is that you can't always tell what race the persons are that are making the comments. A lot of times they have a photo of themselves. And anytime there's a photo of somebody where it actually shows the person, it's always a black person that's saying this comment. So I can't tell by the non-photo comments who's making it, but I can just tell you I've never seen a photo of a white person making this comment where they said that Angel Reese is for Caitlin Clark. It looks like tribalism to me, Rob. That's my opinion.
No, you're right, man, Mark. I mean, I don't think there's. I can stick my neck out there and say, I don't think there's a big, huge following of white people with Angel Reese. I'm sorry. I'll bet the house on that. And there's nothing about that of being racist or anything. That's just a fact. I already know that. People who are rooting for it in general, probably 90% are black.
So. Right. Well, the thing is, Rob, if a white person or white people were saying this, and it was completely the opposite of what was true, they'd be called racist. I'm just using tribalism to be nice. It actually seems kind of racist to me.
Yeah.
It is racist. Okay, I'll just say it.
Yeah, just say it, Mark. That's how we are. We say it.
It is. It is. That's what it is. It's racist to say the exact opposite of what happened, especially when it's not an opinion. It's facts. It's documented. So stop it. That's my take, and I'm sticking to it, Rob.
Good deal.
All right. Hey. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, please do so. Hit the notification bell when you do so you get notified of our next videos. And if you like this video, hit the like button. And Rob and I will both be there for our live show. We can talk about this if you want. And it's every Monday, 6 to 8 Eastern time, except for major holidays. So join us for that. If you want to donate to this channel, you can with super chats and super things down below. And there's a link to PayPal. And we'll see you in the next video.
Peace out.